I constantly have intrusive thoughts that cause overwhelming anxiety. How can I get rid of them to help reduce anxiety?
Yeah, that's a good question. Uh, yeah, anxiety breeds intrusive thoughts, and then intrusive thoughts breed anxiety. And so they become kind of this cycle and loop that feed each other and drive us bonkers. And so it can be a real struggle. There's a variety of different mechanisms that can be at work that can cause that sort of thing to happen. And so how you go about treating that or navigating that really varies depending on what's causing that. And so maybe just going to I'm going to throw out a few different scenarios that could be a part of the situation that as a professional counselor, I would have more questions that I would ask. I would sit with somebody to kind of understand what's fueling this or leading this kind of for them. But sometimes there's a trauma of sorts that is fueling this, right? So there is a protective feature that the body is doing, that it is bringing things to our attention in order to alert us to potential danger that's taken place, that's related to an experience that we've had that the brain is trying to protect us from. So an example could be wartime PTSD type scenario, and things in our life that keep triggering remembrances of those traumatic experiences. A lot of times, if there's been relational trauma, like if you've had experienced infidelity in your marriage and relationship, that's so impactful that it can spur those kinds of intrusive thoughts with anything that reminds one of the struggle of that experience. And so that can be related to the intrusive thoughts. Sometimes it's around fear of a loss of relationship or loss of something significant in our life. And so the fear that that bad thing might happen, can result in intrusive thoughts of our brain trying to protect us from that bad thing happening by bringing all of the different warning indicators to us that might happen to our attention.
Right.
Worry.
I think of like that being, designed by God, I mean, not that, God wants us to be fearful and anxious, but just that those warning signs and, there's a gift in the feelings
Totally.
that we have and the fears that come up,
Totally. Yeah. That's an adaptive part of God's design in us. And so when it's hyperactive, it can create some real problems for us that detract from our life. But the mechanism in itself is a really cool thing that God has wired into us and a really important part of our life experience. One other scenario that throughout there is sometimes biologically something is misfiring for us. And that sometimes our brain can get stuck in cycles that kind of obsess around certain things and can't shake out of that cycle. And in those scenarios, medication is really helpful in getting the balance in our brain into a healthy place so that our brain doesn't get stuck in those patterns. So those are three different kinds of rumination or intrusive thought experiences that folks can have. Hopefully you can see yourself in one of those, and that will give you maybe a track to go down to figure out, why am I experiencing this and what can I do to help have it be different?